Hello and welcome. It is the 4th day of January, 7:41 p.m. Eastern Time as I'm doing this video. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. Amongst the daily term time frame on Bitcoin, it's the first hour that price action is looking to completely stay above the 18 average of highs, which would be the first time it has done so since 4 o'clock in the morning on the 3rd day of January, or a little over a day and a half. Now, what's very interesting is how the recovery of these sell-offs are playing in. And the buyers are showing why they are in full control at this moment within this Bitcoin US dollar cross. And Bitcoin everything crossed for the most part. But in the market of the Bitcoin dollar, the low comes in at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as it breaks down from about 33, all threes we'll say, and then down to piercing below 28,000. That's over $5,000 in a short period of time. I mean, 5,000 is like, yeah, whatever now. It's a good move, but well, it's not quite 20%. But it's how it reacts to such a move. And how it reacted was 4 consecutive green candles managing to make it close to the 18 average of highs, but most importantly, within periods 2 and 3 on the green. Not resisting and really falling from the 18 of lows. So we have what's been in a bull market, established support in different spots. So we break this one. Looked like it was going to break down the 18 average of lows in here, and it did at this as far as after correctionary phase. But I mean, this one is where it really did break down, of course. Okay, you have your first breakdown move, and a good one. I mean, almost 20%, $5,000. 33 down to 28, pretty damn good. But we come up to the 18 and we don't hit the resistance at the lows. But we do resist near the highs. But I don't know how many times I've seen this in bull markets like this. You have the down move and then it just does extremely well. And in this situation, it comes up to the highs. Then we come back down the 18 lows, which is relatively sideways, barely declining like this. And now, of course, getting above this and above the intraday resistance as well. We'll be calculating Fibonacci and key points because, as I've been stating, 61.8%. If it's able to violate that move, then it shows that move was really a failure. So the move is from key high to key low. And I'm not going to draw the lines there. I'm just going to show you the numbers in which I've already calculated. And they're base approximate numbers. So 29,000 mid-change. Let's just take a look at this on the shorter term time frame, and because really in here it was just, I mean, this is what you're going to see on the 1 minute. I'm just going to say it just 23.6 was instant break above, for the most part instant. Then we have 30,200, which we can see it resisted. That's the first level that it gets up to. So that in itself, that when you have a big move, oftentimes the first big level from that low is going to be the 23.6. No, I mean it tested and it crushed that test basically. But that first 23.6 amongst the 15, beautiful, or 38 rather. And then we have 61.8. And this is where that big level is, 31,825. Of course, it pierces extra, but. And then we can see here, this pretty much, and pierces extra again, but you hit it, you have testing correctly the previous established low on the 815 stamp, and you test it again here at 14, I'm thinking 4 p.m., because I always do the math change, 16 is 4, but 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's, of course, gotten above this intraday resistance that it had. I mean, this market's at highs not seen in like a long time. I mean, we're almost at like 18 or so hour highs. Well, I mean, you look at the perspective of the time frame you're looking at, as I presume. But it shows you, again, buyers in complete control within this market. Overextended? Yeah, but Within today's session, it's already had. We can see if you want to use 18 as official, it's had an official correctionary move in the Monday session. And really now it's working on the third day of maybe just going sideways like we see here and here. And if there's any Bollinger Band type stuff or is lifting away from that type of stuff, I used to use upper bands and stuff like that. I can tell this market is overextended. And when you consider from August 31st, which was down 12.37%. Let's look at the worst months, or weeks rather, because that's what the time frame is. September 21st, down 1.3. Following week, down 1. November 23rd, down 1.3. And December 7th, down 1.13. So far, we're down 1.02. But it hasn't had any correctionary moves via that of price as far as time corrections. Yeah, maybe this a little bit. Do you really count this period? This was a low whatever period, and you definitely want to count this as a pause period where you just talk about like sideways consolidations. We can see that the line went down here and the line went down here. And so far, we're getting a correction within this. And sometimes you don't even know within a period if there was a correction within this, because for all you know, this period, this period could be this for all you know. But as it goes, there's going to be that of a significant price correction at some point. That's the key word. When's that point? And simply by looking at the charts, and especially when the monthly term is not overextended, it's not easy to predict. Because long story short, if you've been seeing on the video, like 60, 80, 100, even $200,000, $300,000 Bitcoin on this leg higher, I'm thinking. But do we have a serious price correction before we get there, or do we get there first? Even get there is like 60,000, we'll say, even if it gets to 3 or whatever, 200 in that. Maybe it has something like this before it gets to 60. And if it does, this would just be meeting up with the 18, and it would be going down to like 20, and it would be losing a third of its value. Oh, Bitcoin does what Bitcoin does. And it's going to continue doing what it continues doing. And then this thing might not even have anything of a serious price correction until like 40, 50, 60, 80, who knows when. Because as it broke out here, oh, it's overextended. People are talking about it being overextended, like 14, 15, 16,000 and stuff. Okay, it's up too much. Okay, a little bit of correction. Oh, now it's breaking above resistance. Maybe people are starting to say at 24 or 25. One of my greatest teachers, I have a few teachers, I suppose. I listen to a lot of people, or a few people. Was Brian Shannon saying trying to pick tops is a fool's game? And it is, but it isn't. However, to say that we're up way too much and we just have to go down now, well, still barely about this. It's extended above the 18 average of highs. Over is an adjective. Maybe it's underextended above the 18 average of highs. That might be a better word to use here. And then on the weekly time frame, it is becoming overly extended. But within the overextension, even within this period here, it's a live slot. It's a live period within itself, because as you can see, the intra-move correction. And in a bull market, you don't know exactly too much. So, okay, when is it gonna? When are we going to have the top? And the last time we had this sideways correction, look at this, was a decent amount of time. And this wasn't as much. It's a couple days here, and so far 3 days in here. And that's since the market has broken out from the 18 average of highs in here, doing so at previous high, barely below 20,000, and doing it on the date of December the 16th. It hasn't even been a month yet. We've been experiencing that of about 18 days. We're finishing off the third week of all-time high prices in Bitcoin. There's nothing to say that this market still can't break this resistance. And if it does, this thing could be just, oh goodness, this is... 4 days later, 41,800 or 48,000 or 56. And I'm not kidding when I say things like that, because that's what happens in these huge bull markets. When the lightning, if you will, the explosive stuff doesn't stop. Let's now switch up to BCH, Bitcoin Cash against the Bitcoin. hour or daily term, we're going to move into 4 hour and hourly after that. But I think it's 4 hourly is the one I'm really focused on. But what have we seen? And gets above the 18 highs and then fails on the lows. Gets above the highs and there's with the lows. Well, I mean this one here too, but this gets above the highs, fails amongst the lows, gets above the highs. At least as of now, it hasn't tested the lows. The lows comes in at 1193 handle. Okay. 4 hour term time frame. Where's 1193 handle come in? Like, okay, so yeah, this is where like 61.8, you can see, must hold, all that type of stuff, yada yada. But what I want to look at now is how many times the price actions had some sort of decent, okay, break above the 18 average of highs, has come back via price and or time to the 18 and then break established resistance. I mean, this wasn't that great of a break, comes back to it, gets above it here. However, you could say, no, that's not a good break. Did get above it here, however, I mean, didn't even attempt at this stage to make a break above. It gets above in here, falls. Above it here, not really counting it. But this one here did get above it here, and there was only one bit of a leg, and there's not much we could have got on it, but break and established resistance it got here. But that's all it got. Other times in the past for something like this, how good of a move is this? A little bit of a failed breakout here. Gets above it here, never retests it. That's not much of a move in here. I mean, microscopically got above it on this. Now down in here, you're in a situation where you've got, where do we want to start this one? I mean, there's a little bit of a break in that type of spot, getting above here. Managed to get to this high, you made the higher low. And then you make this one, you break above here. But a lot of these times when it's had these moves, it has been unable to make much for a place. Now in the situation here, this is the one I find very, very interesting. Again, why I want to talk about this. Because I mean, there's a lot of choppy movements, but how many people got shaked out here? And were you able to, like how many people would have the ability to buy on a breakout and some sort, even breaking out on the rally up here as it's showing in this point in here, not get shaken out by this loss, and then enable to get some sort of profit in some sort of range in here. And that would just be some sort of fantastic play. But when these markets do end up going, and there's been just so many teases as well, I'm going to fast forward this. There's been so many teases that they're going to go. It seems as if at some point, you know, I wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. But when you have a spot where you have like day after day after day that trades above the 18 average of highs, because you can count how many days there's been where the 18 average of low highs was high or lower, or the price action completely stayed above the highs or completely stayed below the lows. We have one day where it stayed above the highs in here, and a couple more back here. And that's back in October. Well, how many days below the lows did we have? We have a couple here. Definitely this green day here. I mean, you kind of can count all these days in here, and at low volatility is a bunch in here. A bit higher volatility, quite a few, like all of these practically. And back in here, there's barely price action above the highs, below the lows. Here's where we spent a decent amount of time below the lows again. And this is a price action point here of a 469 handle down to 120. So 4x loss against the Bitcoin in 2020, at least from its highest to its lowest point. And Bitcoin, of course, having gains of significant proportions, of course, too. And I want to put a different Bitcoin Cash chart up just because I want more data. Because when we have some good gains in here, let's take a look at this 2020 above the 18 average of highs. The price actually goes from 250 up to 480, close to double. And then we have a move. This is going back to 2019. There's a spot where it went from the 329 handle up to 650, double. At the end of 2018, 230 handle up to 540, so that's 2.5x. And then even way back in the day, like when this thing wants to go, this is the type of example that cryptos can do any given time. And this is where we see price action going from like the 930 handle up to 180. It's just like doubling again. But you see how fast it happens when it does happen, and whether we'll get the very big spikes like this again. I mean, this is just fantastic movement going from like 520 to like 2700, like a 4 or 5x move. And I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing moves of that nature that do come into play when it's ready. I've been saying that for a long time, and it could be like, oh, 2023 maybe is the way this is going. It's like, okay, I'll just stick on and play the game as I have designed my game to be played. And a lot of it is shown in the more information box and our ratio trades and all of that. Like, now as far as Bitcoin Cash against the US fiat debt note, let's use Bitstamp, I suppose. I got lines on here. I didn't prepare for this video. Wow, nice. Yeah, that's a nice breakout pattern. I didn't prepare for the dollar stamp. I did prepare for the Bitcoin cross and the Bitcoin dollar stuff. All right. Wow, wowzers. When did I put these lines and what do they represent? Well, that's going to be, the second question should be easy to put in. The first question, I don't care. Okay, so we got this low, this high. So that's Fibonacci. 23.6, 38.2, and 61.8. Yeah, easy. Okay, so it looks like we're heading, oh my goodness, this is giving me an indication that this is going to be making up to next key level, which should be 920, basically 1,000. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is we've been in this range and many attempts at breaking out the big key Fibonacci, between the 38 and 23.6% Fibonacci. And it originally came up to this point from the lows of like under $100 in December of 2019, supporting the end of the year, what was resistance here. Then another attempt to get out of it before 2020 started, but a huge decline that occurred, seeing it go from 480 down to 150. I mean, Bitcoin crashed as well too with it. And amongst the recovery time frame, it came up to this big 272 mark, had a failed breakout in the summer of last year. Oftentimes for failed moves in one direction come create a concise, nice direction move in the opposite. Not this time. And maybe not oftentimes, but a decent amount of times. But what I look at it is in, why didn't it have a fast move going below here? All those weakness in September. So instead, adjusting the message of the market. October comes back up to the size, but still got to do a lot more. At least first you have to come up and resist and show that you can hold this area, get some momentum going, which is exactly what it's doing. It resisted on the November 23rd stamp. And then a couple weeks holding on to the 18. Another test, and then this beautiful December 21 one, where it has like period 3 of the last 5 that was testing this area, closing in the ballpark area. And I talked earlier about how that line, just when you see it like that and it comes back, that's just a bullish signal. And the 18 average starting to rise, price action. 18 average that closes not shown has been magnificent support, but that's way back when from this December 21 period. It gets above it in the previous week, and we continue to hold and stay above it right now, which is just a fantastic signal. Hasn't yet come up to these couple areas of resistance. That's a big areas to get above, which is closer to the high $400 area. So the current level of resistance, well, what's the exact number stamps on? 515. Then we had 515 on this. Then it came back up to 497. So we still should be making a move towards 500. We've got up to 402/3 right now. And even then, getting above that, you see at 581, 600. Now it's going to be like, okay, now I'm convinced it's going to 920. I'm basically 1,000 because it always appears as extra. And I would need to move it around that to be like, yeah, that's going to happen. Now, for as it goes, it looks highly probable just because I do like how the holding and staying above, getting above this level. Because this is the fact that, yeah, this period in the last, it has stayed above this resistance. So Looking very, very nice. On the daily term, decent choppy action overall. As you can see, attempting here the 350 November 24th, big pullback. It took a while to get back going towards that level. Not even get back going, but to get to that point, December 12th rather, up until December 21st, week and a half, piercing above, and then a nice wild pullback, making a higher low to the 18 average of lows. And then we can see here from that of December the 27th to the date ending January the 2nd, spanning that of like about a week or so, 6-7 days it looks like, chopping and congesting at $350. And then the breakout happening at that major level on that of Sunday, holding it today on Monday. And that's where it stands on the daily term time frame. Monthly chart, I mean, there's not much data, but you can see, okay, downtrend, attempt to get above on February, and not much of an attempt though, but still an extreme good hold. And after showing the month before in December, I like how it closed at the highs, and I like how so far we've extended from it. So a lot of points showing to me that things are ready to take off. And the big legacy, I guess legacy slash high market, the top cryptos go off first. That wouldn't surprise me. Or LITECOINs, or Ethereum. Well, Ethereum I know is kicking ass right now. Let me just click on that quickly. You can see just doing fantastic here at 1109, and the daily term time frame just fantastic moves. So that's just a quick bonus little coverage. I don't show Ether too much, but I think things are ready to take off for some fantastic situations. Bye bye.